Start with, obviously, the big story today, and that is, of course, Apple. Is it worrying in your mind that we are seeing the deterioration of their sales in China, considering everything else we're hearing about China right now?
I think it's not surprising. I mean, if China's going to be soft, so are multinationals that sell to China. So, it's our perspective that Apple had a rough quarter this quarter. They obviously are predicting that they're going to have some challenges based on the products that are offering in terms of whether they're new or not. They just had that new release that hopefully will spur sales. But I don't think there's anything to really be overly concerned about here. Remember, China sells a very high-priced handset in China, or Apple sells a high-priced handset in China. They're competing against Huawei. So I think we're fine. I just think it's a rough quarter.
Speaking of a company that did do decently in China, and considering that, over the course of the last few months, they've been caught up in this. I suppose anyone doing business in China is going to see weakness, and being sold off is Starbucks. And, you heard a little bit from their CEO. You probably saw a whole lot more. They're very bullish about China. There's this expectation with all these new stores and everything else that it's going to be great. But should we buy into that story completely, considering that, one, there's a huge competitor when we're talking about Luckin, and secondly, it would just take, a continuation of what we're already seeing when it comes to geopolitical tension for, I don't want to say a boycott, but, it might be looked upon not as kindly if you're a Chinese consumer going to Starbucks instead of going to Luckin.
I'm less concerned about that and more concerned about whether people are being realistic about how fast they can ramp up. I spent a lot of time in China, including the city that the Starbucks CEO mentioned in the clip before. So I think Starbucks will continue to expand, but you have to understand Starbucks is very much a premium brand in China. Maybe here in the United States, it's kind of like something that a lot of people do. They're charging full price in China for Starbucks. So as the economy has challenges, that's probably going to slow down purchases, and that's probably going to slow down Starbucks expansion plans. Will it play out? Yes. But this is not something I think you buy the stock because in a quarter or in 6 months, you're going to absolutely see some massive exponential increase in stores. I just don't see that happening.
Speaking of China stories, it's going to be a couple of weeks, but we are going to get Nike as well, and that's another one that's been, tarred with that same brush. Are you bullish at all about Nike moving forward?
Nike's kind of in the same situation as Starbucks and Apple is. They're in a global multinational company. They're benefiting from labor costs, obviously, in China, but it's just tougher to sell product in China right now because of what's happening in the economy. I think Nike is a solid company, and I don't think investors should be worried that some collapse is going to happen related to the China market. But I would look more to the fundamentals of Nike rather than looking for a China stimulus, because I think Nike has some other challenges they're trying to confront right now in their product mix. So I would not buy, again, on optimism something's going to turn in China, because I don't think something is going to turn in China.